We are taking a real deep dive into my nostalgia today because I've got another Star Wars figure for you here on 6 Scale Archaeology. Hello again, and welcome to episode 4 of 6 Scale Archaeology. I'm your host and your friendly neighborhood archaeologist, Rob, and I'm here to talk to you guys again about toys. So today I'm bringing up a little bit of my past. You remember the Star Wars figures from Kenner from the late 70s and early 1980s, and actually throughout the 1980s. Well, there were a few figures out of that line that I just really loved. Chief of which, as I said in an earlier video, was the Scout Trooper. I just loved that trooper. But another trooper was a close second, and that was the AT-AT driver. Now, you might remember the AT-AT driver from Empire Strikes Back. There were two of them. They were sitting in the cockpit of the Snow Walkers, as we used to call them. And I just loved how they looked. I thought they were really cool. And when I saw that I could get action figures of them as a kid, I would beg my parents, can I have another one? Can I have another one? Can I have another one? Eventually I ended up having 4, and 3 of them I bought myself with my allowance. But I really liked them. And for whatever reason, those Kenner action figures that couldn't bend at the elbows or bend at the knees, they just did something for me. I just really, really liked them. And like many of you, they sparked my interest in toys and collecting. But as I grew up and I grew older, I decided that those would be the first figures I would collect in 6th scale. As I started to be more of a discerning collector in terms of hot toys and sideshow, and whatever 6 scale figures I could find, I didn't really know the difference in quality between all of them. I just thought they all looked good. I didn't really care too much about minor details or anything like that. But as I said, the AT-AT driver was one that was very near and dear to my heart. And when I started collecting 6 scale, I went on eBay looking for an AT-AT driver because I had recently at that point discovered Sideshow Collectibles. And the AT-AT driver was not available anymore. It had come and gone years before I started collecting. So this was a hunt for me. And when I finally did find it, there was a nice lady on eBay who was selling hers. And it was in perfect condition. It was great. And the price was right. So I plunked down my money and she sent it. So when I received it, it was in perfect condition. As I said, it was without any blemishes, scratches, dings, any kind of problem whatsoever. And I was very, very happy. It's a sideshow figure. Now, you can take that however you want to. Sideshow does make some really great figures. Again, I will point to Pennywise from 1990, based off the likeness of the great Tim Curry. But it's a hit and miss sort of a situation. Sometimes their stuff is really, really great, and other times it's not so great. But the same can be said for hot toys. There are some sculpts that just don't work, and then there are others that knock it out of the park. In this case, there was no hot toys alternative. If I wanted an AT-AT driver, it was going to be Sideshow, or that was it, in terms of what I was able to find. And I don't regret it at all. I really, really like this figure. And it will always have a place in my collection. Now, with the recent announcements by Hot Toys of the TIE Fighter pilot making a return, and the fact that I've already pre-ordered 2 of them, I have high hopes that the AT-AT driver could follow. It's a really popular trooper. It is to me, at least anyway. I know there's a lot of people who really want this figure as well. So if Hot Toys does one, and I hope they do, I'll be one of the first in line to grab it. But let's take a look at the Sideshow one, because I think it's important to acknowledge when something's done right, and they did a great job. So this is it. This is the Sideshow Collectibles AT-AT driver. And this is one of the best looking ones that I've seen in a while, in terms of troops. Like, the figures that come out are great. I like all the troops. I'm a big trooper guy. I really like the troops, but I don't understand why Hot Toys hasn't given us one of these yet. But that said, I love this figure. This has got to be one of my all-time favorite of my 6 scale figures that I have. As you can see, the detail here is really, really, really accurate. Just to the breathing apparatus on his chest, the air hoses that go to the back of his helmet, and I don't know if you can see this, but it almost looks like he's got 2 little window wipers hanging from right there. I don't know what those are for, but they're accurate to the actual costume and the armor in the movies. So as you can see, it's a great figure. Now, unfortunately, he's not really that posable. I mean, he is posable in the sense that I can make him do certain things, but his posability is very limited, and I think that's just more or less because of the constraints of the kind of armor that he's wearing, and that's fine. But overall, until there's something better, which I would like to see soon, Hot Toys, if you're listening, Howard, give us an AT-AT driver, please. I'm begging you. You've come back with the new TIE Fighter pilot. Please give us a new AT-AT driver, because I'd get a couple of these for sure. So there you have it, the AT-AT driver by Sideshow Collectibles. Like I said, I love this figure. He's always going to have a home in my collection, regardless of whether Hot Toys puts one out or not. But when Hot Toys does, and I absolutely believe Howard has that up his sleeve at some point, I'll definitely get more than one, because I'm a sucker like that. So, thanks again for sticking with me through this episode of 6 Scale Archaeology. I will be back soon with episode 5, and it's going to be a figure that I don't think you're going to expect, but we'll see what you think. So until next time, remember, it's not the years, it's the mileage.